Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Man, do we have a show for you today. It's going to be so much fun, and it's just full of tons of positivity. Today, it's kind of BOGP after dark because we're talking with listener Simon, and he's over in the UK, and he stayed up late or early because it was the middle of the night for him, actually early in the morning. And we talk about his trip. He was over at Walt Disney World for almost 3 weeks with his young family, 2 young boys and his wife. And we just talk about his stay at Pop Century. And I don't want to give too much away. There's so many magic moments. First haircuts at Harmony Barbershop and a lost shoe, a lost magic band, and cast members, just cast members here and there and everywhere. They went the extra mile to make magic for this family, and this family making magic for other people. And just the epic adventure to check off and to get to Cosmic Rewind. Does it happen? Stick around and find out on today's show. Sully conquers all. Don't forget, today's podcast brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. BeOurGuestPodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You make all these shows possible. Couldn't do it without you. And we'd love to have you support us. Just $5 a month is all it takes. And you'll get our bonus show every single week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So come on over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2474 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend as always. And hey, thanks for dropping in. It's time for another week here in April. We're going to get through it. And we've got a great show for you lined up today. It's a little bit different because even though it's early morning, probably as you're listening to the show, but the great thing about podcasting, you could be listening to this in the afternoon, at night. You could be listening to this show in 2029. I don't care. You download it. I'm happy. It's all working out for both of us. But today, it's a little BOGP after dark because as we record this show, it's one day in the studios here at the Be Our Guest Podcast studios, and it's another day for our guest because we're heading over to the UK. He's staying up super late for us. So joining us from over in the United Kingdom, listener Simon. Simon, happy Thursday where you are, Wednesday night where I am. Thanks for hanging out late with us today.
Happy Wednesday evening, Mike. It's my pleasure.
How are things over in your part of the world?
Typically rainy, cold. We had about 5 minutes of sun today, so that's the British summer out the way. But yeah, it's all good, man. As I said earlier, it's been a good but long day. The boys are finally sleeping. So yeah, looking forward to sitting down with a cold beverage and talking some Disney with you.
I like it. So the fish and chips are that good that it keeps everybody over there that, that even with that weather.
Yeah, for sure. And we don't have to wait for Friday for it. We can have it any day we like. There's no hard and fast rule.
The crime of it is my dad, right? He works for the Rams. So the NFL team here in the United States, and they've gone over to play at Wembley, and I've played a few places over in the UK over the years for the where they play the international games. He goes all the way over there with the team. He'll be over there for 2 or 3 days. And the only thing he gets is McDonald's. Like, my dad is such a picky eater. I'm like, because he will not. I'm like, you could have fish and chips in London. Like, I keep explaining to him, I get him an Epcot.
The crime of that, Mike, is that our McDonald's isn't even as good as yours.
He doesn't care because when my dad goes to McDonald's, he gets a hamburger, mustard only. That's all he gets. I mean, it's a crime against humanity. I'm just saying, it's such a wasted opportunity. But we're not here for my dad. But I'm sure he's probably watching, and he will be texting me, blowing up my phone any second. But so anyway, let's jump into your little story. I got to hear, because you're a Disney fan, you're over in the UK. We have lots of friends. I've met Malcolm from the UK. I've met lots of listeners from the UK. It's awesome. That's actually our second most downloaded country outside the United States. What's it like though to be a Disney fan over there from your perspective? Everybody's got their different take on things, but you know, how's it for you?
Um, it's a lot of fun. It's also equally very expensive. We have to work a lot harder to get to these places.
Right.
Because we're in that pinch between Paris and Florida. And so it's you know, get there when you can, however often you can. It's not always easy, but you know, we do what we have to. You know, we obviously embrace the films and the movies and everything else, and being sort of in theater and that sort of thing, I've sort of embraced the songs particularly for a very long time from a very young age. But yeah, there's something about being in a Disney park, especially in Florida, that it just hits different. I mean, Paris is great and is beautiful for what it is, but there's nothing for our family or me, you know, than sort of getting off the plane, being hit in the face by that humidity, and because it's not something we get a lot of here.
So as I say, you get the
And,
fish and chips like where I live. It's humid all the time in the summer. There's no difference from walking out my back door to Florida, man. It's humid
yeah,
all the time. It
yeah,
sucks.
but for us, that humidity means it's vacation time, you know, it's holiday. So yeah,
To me, it means I got to cut the
we
grass.
love Disney. It's something that grew very late on in life for me in terms of going to the parks, because I'm one of four boys, so I have three brothers. It was a very sort of what's the way to say this? It was a very thin upbringing. You know, money wasn't very in abundance,
Right.
so we never went to Disney. It was never even a thing that would even be contemplated. It would never happen. The closest we got was the VHSs, and most of them were recorded off the TV. You
Yep.
know, so
Yep.
but yeah, out of nowhere, my wife, who doesn't like rides, she gets motion sickness, is in no way your typical theme park goer. When we started to discuss our honeymoon, just completely out of the blue, she's like, what about if we went to like Disney World? What if we went to Florida? I was like, what? Where did that come from? Um, and yeah, it just clicked, man. Like she rode every ride twice. The first time with her eyes closed, the second time with her eyes open,
I
and
love it.
we never looked back. That was 2017, and man, we've been so many times since. We got two boys now. We got Sully, who's turning 6 on Friday, and we got Sid, who just turned 2, and both of them went at the age of 3 months for the first time, and have both been multiple times since, because it's just become, that's our thing. That's what we love to do now. So yeah, those are the memories we make. If we can't get over the water to you guys, we'll get to France and Disneyland Paris if we can. And most of the time, if we're not in Disney, we're talking about it or thinking about it or listening to the podcast and dreaming about it. So yeah, that's what it is for us.
That's such an awesome backstory. And it's so, it just really kind of resonates with it's the same no matter where you are in the world, because I have the same story, right? I didn't go till later in life because we didn't have the means. We didn't travel as kids.
Yeah.
But, you know, my daughter, again, she's been on all the cruise ships. You know, like she's going to have these opportunities because I love to go now that I couldn't have dreamed of as a kid, just because dad wanted to go, you know, and I didn't get to do it.
Sure.
And like by the way, if your second child would have been named Mike, I would have cracked up because of Sully. You know,
Well,
like, I was ready for that. I mean, I love the kids' names.
No.
Like, come on.
I need to explain these things because people are like, God, are you that into Disney? No, that's not what happened. It was purely like coincidence. So we were using this baby name app, and it's like almost like a Tinder for baby names. So me and my wife Susie, we both have the app, and we swipe left if we like a name, right if something like that. Anyway, but if you match, then both of you can see the names in your account. And so we both swiped on Sullivan, and of the few names that we got to, it was like, yeah, I really like that name. There was something quite old-fashioned about it, but also quite cool about it. And literally, it never sunk in until he was born. Like, oh my God, Sully from Monsters Inc. But not only that, and this is going to kick you, her brother's name is Mike.
Oh no.
So he has an Uncle Mike. And So that was that one. And
Ironically, his middle name's Wazowski. I mean, what are the chances?
but our second son, Sydney, again, it was just it was an S thing because I'm Simon, she's Susie, he's Sully, and it kind of made sense. Well, okay, so he's Sid, and we'd become known as the Slows because our surname is Lowe. So the Slows. And when I did Run Disney in 2019, I did the 5K and the half marathon, and I had to print a name on my thing, and I just I didn't know what to put. And Susie went, "Well, why not Mr. Slow? Because you're not very fast." So that just became my name. And so I'll be running along, and what was making me laugh is, "Oh, go, Mr. Slow! Not so slow today."
Embrace your inner strength.
I know, right? So yeah, back to Sid. So Sydney. It was after a while. My mum said to me, "So have you named him Sid because of Sid from Toy Story?"
That's what I didn't want to bring that up. I was like, dude, that kid was Bad Mamma Jamma.
That wasn't even a thing. It was just a name that we liked. So if we had a girl, we thought it'd be nice to have a girl. Sydney was the only name we liked for a girl. So when he was a boy, we were like, well, Sydney works. So yeah, let's go with it. And then a friend of mine, 2-3 months after he was born, they were like, "You do know the connection with his name and Disney, right?" I'm like, "No." Well, Sydney is an anagram of the name Disney.
I didn't even think. I didn't even put that together. You're blowing my total mind 7 different ways right now with your kid names.
But we never thought of that, and so we just subconsciously, apparently, are obsessed.
So what you're doing right now is all of our expectant mothers in the audience are just freaking out about all their possible kid names right now. They're like, okay, we have got to really rethink everything tonight over dinner.
Yeah, what I would say is just pay attention to your list and double check it.
No, just so real quick, our story with Mallory was, it wasn't hard, but Paige and Pam, right? My wife's Pam. So they both had P's. And so my name's Mike. So we decided Mallory's name had to start with an M, right? To balance things out. Paige, Pam, Mike, and then Mallory's name was going to start with an M. So we were on a lazy river because we were both teachers on summer break. So we just sat there to start rattling off girls' names, and we're both teachers. So it could not be the name of a girl that we've had in class over the past 15 years. So it was really hard. Nope, had that kid, couldn't do that. Nope, because it'll associate. So finally we just came up with Mallory. And probably from Family Ties, the old, the old sitcom, because, we like that name. We didn't give it a whole lot of thought. We didn't have an app or anything. Just it sounds good. Okay, there you go, Mallory, you got your name. We didn't give it a whole ton of thought. We just floated around the lazy river, a couple laps, and bam, our kid's got a name. So yeah, not named after anybody, but maybe, I don't know, Keaton. Who knows? All right. So
and was it the same year you lost a phone to the lazy river?
It was probably the same day. No, this was after, because that was the day. This was the day before I got married. So yes, This was a year later. Yeah, because that was in 2006. That was in 2008. So yeah, that was 2 years later. Anyway. Let's jump into your trip. So you guys were over there. You came over to Florida for 15 days. So when did this happen? And how's your planning work over there? Because obviously a lot more planning goes into a trip of this length.
Yeah, for sure. So we were actually supposed to travel in the May, and about 2 weeks before we were due to fly. So I just run the London Marathon, and 2 days later, I went into hospital and didn't quite sure what it was. Luckily, nothing too serious. I'll say that, but I did have to have an organ removed, but nothing too serious.
Oh my gosh.
It's a gallbladder thing.
Oh my gosh, you're not helping people ever want to do a race.
No, it wasn't associated to the running. It was nothing to do with the running. It was a completely separate thing.
I'm just saying, I'm glad the show's going out the day after Springtime Surprise, so that people, if you're listening live, still go down, run the races this weekend.
No, you're all fine.
Only 10 miles. That was 26.
Yeah, you're fine. Just ease up a bit on the spicy food, because that was kind of what caused it. Just too many years of abuse to hot sauce and
good.
Okay, that sort of thing.
Okay, good clarification. Running is still good.
Yeah, that's
for you.
it. Yeah, so I ended up being in a hospital, and the time period of which you have to recover before you can fly, I was in that danger zone, so they wouldn't let me fly. So called up Disney, who were just fantastic. Literally within the space of 5 minutes, I'd phone them up, explain the situation. They moved the date. and everything else, and it ended up being a bit cheaper. So I was like, win-win all round. So we ended up moving to the August, which worked out well because the school holidays here, is the main August, end of July period. So what we did at the same time as moving it, though, was we realized our 14-day tickets that we can buy in the UK are actually good for 18 days. So you get 14 days of entrance, but you can use them over a period of 18 days. And so we were like, well, we've just saved money on the date change. Let's just put it back in and go for longer. So all in all, I think we were out there for 21 days. So we used a bit of the extra cash to get there a few days early, stay off property, just decompress give the kids a few days to acclimatize and that sort of thing. So that by the time we checked into Pop, so spoiler alert, we stayed at Pop. By the time we checked into Pop, they were ready to go. Like all the jet lag and everything was gone. And they were just good to go and up for it. So that's how it ended up being the main summer holidays in August.
Awesome. So I want to make sure we get, because again, we're gonna get this all in an hour here somehow. So let's talk real quick. Tips for travel coming across from Europe for folks that are in the circumstance. What did you, especially with kids? I mean, that's got to be something you learned.
Yeah, it's a massive thing for us. So I remember the first time around we traveled with Sully. We scoured the internet, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere for how-to videos, tips, tricks, and there just wasn't a lot out there for kids. So we kind of had to wing it that first trip. But I love planning, Mike. I love research. I could spend, if I didn't have to work, I would spend all day just on the computer looking at Disney and how to get there and the best way to get there. And so, we found out loads of info. And what we found out was with the little ones, so we travel with Virgin, and the reason we went with Virgin Atlantic is because they have the sky cots, which are like a little bassinet that just bolts to the wall. So as you sit there and travel, they just sleep in front of you on the wall.
Nice.
It was perfect. So I could sit, watch movies, eat food, just put my hand over the top and give them whatever they want. And it was so easy. You just give a little thought to what you take. You don't need to take as much as you think for them, because guess what? Babies are born in Disney. Babies are born in Florida.
We have
America.
kids here too. Exactly. We have stores.
Everybody would say to us, like, you're taking a baby to Disney, but it's 3 months. What are you going to do with it? I was like, well, the same thing everyone else does with babies. I'm going to feed it, make it asleep, and enjoy the parks. Like, what do you want?
Right. I mean, we took Mallory at 6 months and she was totally fine.
Yeah. I mean, we are very laid back people. We're both sort of singers, performers. Like, we're very open-minded and easygoing. Like, we just weren't phased by it. So we took way more the first time than we thought we needed. We took, diapers, we took wipes, we took cream, we took this and that. And what we basically found out was we're carrying way more bags than we need to. We just needed that one bag with the immediate stuff that we needed and the food for the trip. And beyond that, a few extras in the case, but just not panic, because the first thing we did on the way to the hotel was go to Walmart, stock up, and we were good to go.
Walmart's an experience for you guys too, right? I mean, because I've lived in the United States for 50 years, and it's still an experience for me. But I mean, it's gotta be for you.
My wife gets so frustrated with me because I like to browse. I'm a browser, man. I grew up working on the markets, buying and selling from 12 years old, anything to earn pocket money for sweets or soda or whatever. So I go to Walmart and it's like Aladdin's cave for me. I'm like, right, let's go. Let's get in there. I want to look at everything. What, you buy tires? I want to look at them. She's like, what? Why do you need to look in the homeware? We're on holiday. I'm like, but I don't know. We need to look. She's like, you don't need anything. And I'm like, but my theory is, how do I know until I see it?
That's true. It's a place that it's indescribable. And then I'm saying, I mean, the real place you don't need to go down there is Buc-ee's. There's a gas station. I'm telling you, man, it'll blow your mind. You really don't need to go there.
The water calls to Moana. Walmart calls to me,
Mr. Slow. It's calling Mr. Slow. We need you. Anyway, so let's get back. I just had to throw that in because I could just tell that's your mecca. It's calling you. It's like, I gotta see it. Okay, so you guys, so you get over here and you're there.
Yeah.
So you don't go immediately to Pop Century. You do some stuff kind of offsite first. So give us just some highlights from the time before Disney.
Yeah, absolutely. So we come into MCO, we get a car through Alamo, and what I love about Alamo, especially, I don't know what it's like for Americans, Mike, but for the Brits, we can do like a skip the counter thing and a fast check thing, so we can go straight to the garage. We literally get there. The baby seats, for anybody worried about car seats, um, they're amazing. Like, I wouldn't put my child or my kids in anything I didn't feel safe. They are pristine, like they're so clean and they're wrapped, and you take the one that you need and you want that is good for your kid. You chuck them straight in the car. You choose your car, and then as you drive out, you tell them, "I've got 2 seats. Excellent. This is how much." Off you go. It's so simple. It's so easy. So I took care of getting the seats and the bags to the car. Susie pushed a double stroller with the boys in, and I it was one of the fastest get throughs we've ever had. We were on the road in no time. So we drive straight down to Walmart, and then go pick up my Coke Zeros and my everything else. And then we go over to, what was it? It's like a Holiday Inn near Disney Springs. It's got an Applebee's attached to it. So again, brilliant because kids eat free. So that was good. And then we just spent a couple of days going to Universal because we're both big Harry Potter fans, me and my wife. The kids love Minions, and it was just a couple of very easy days. I find the Universal parks, they're great, but they're for kids that are a lot older than mine.
Mm-hmm.
So for the little bits that they do have for my kids, it just meant that we could go in, take our time. There wasn't too much thinking about it. A lot of time at the pool. And then the day before we checked into Pop Century, we treated ourselves to a day at Discovery Cove. I don't know if you've ever done that, Mike.
I have not, but my brother-in-law did that. He did like the really nice experience where he did the dolphin encounter or something like that. And I mean, it was like a decade ago, and he still talks about it. He said Discovery Cove was one of his best things he's ever done in Florida.
It's phenomenal. It is one of our most favorite non-Disney things to do because you pay your ticket up front and you choose whether you do a dolphin swim or not, and there's loads of things you can do, but we were quite lucky. We got a sort of like a Black Friday sale deal. So we got a dolphin swim for like half the price.
Nice.
Which obviously me and my wife could do, so we took it in turns and the other just looked after the kids, and we just chilled out because we knew what was ahead of us was a very full-on intense 18 days, and we love it that way. So it was like, well, let's just chill out. We got all-inclusive food, you're practically laying on a tropical island beach all day, and it's fantastic. And if you've never done it, you should absolutely make time for it because it's great and well worth it as well.
I know later in your trip, because you sent me some notes, you guys did Typhoon Lagoon, which I love, but I mean,
we did
had to affect that though, right? I mean, Typhoon Lagoon's great and all, but it's not Discovery Cove, correct?
So the good thing with Discovery Cove is it's all just very chilled and laid back. When we go to Typhoon Lagoon, we just want to go nuts.
Yeah,
like
lots of slides.
I'm getting my 5-year-old in the wave pool and just watching it happen. Like I'm setting him up good. But so this was like, this is the nice beach, the chilled, relaxed one. I'm going to pummel you later on.
That's
But
true.
yeah, it was good.
Typhoon Lagoon's active. It's busy. Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of people at Typhoon Lagoon typically too. It's fun. All right, so let's get you over to Pop. So you guys were at Pop for quite a while. Why did you settle on Pop? I'm always curious why people pick the resorts they pick, because I'm a huge, obviously I'm a huge Pop fan. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
but why'd you land there?
So obviously we've heard a lot of great recommendations from you guys over the years that I've been listening, and about all the resorts really. But a big thing for us was this was our first time ever staying on Disney property, and it was going to be the first time that we've ever been in Orlando, Florida, and Disney World and not had a car. We're very have always been very independent because we've been off property on having the car, and especially with the kids, it's quite handy. So there was that element of are we doing the right thing? So part of the reason we went for pop, and a lot of your recommendations came into this is bang, you're right there on the Skyliner. So you've got two parks on your doorstep via the Skyliner with little to no thought. So that was a massive thing. The other thing was it's very close to Art of Animation, as you know, it's like right over the bridge. And my eldest Sully, he is like the biggest Cars fan
Mm-hmm.
you will ever meet. I mean, if there's anything he doesn't know about Cars, it's because it wasn't part of it. And it was like, well, we couldn't unfortunately stretch to stay in the Cars family suites. So the nearest we could get to that was Pop. So that was another factor that at least we could go over there and look at the area and look at the characters and all that sort of thing, which oddly enough, Mike, we never ended up doing
Really?
because
Oh my
we
gosh,
would
it's so
just
cool. I love that area.
and I know, and I've seen the pictures, but when I say we were just so busy with just having fun and doing what we were doing, there was always something else that we needed to do.
That blows my mind though with the
I
length of your
know.
trip. I mean, like I thought you would
Yeah.
have so much. Like we're here so long. We're
Well,
looking for things to do.
we wanted to go over and see the models and the statues and all of that. We wanted to try and spend a day at the Cozy Cone pool because that
Yep.
would have blown his mind and all those things, but it never happened. And he kind of got preoccupied with what we called Mickey's List. So we'd been watching ride videos back home because in 22 we went and he was just a little bit younger at 4 years old. And every time we got to the front of the line to do a ride, he would bail. He would cry, he would get scared, he would get nervous, and we'd have to leave. And we always have been, look, if you want to do it, you can do it. If anytime you decide you don't want to do it, it's not a problem. We'll try again next time. Because I think if you force them into that situation, the long-term sort of thing that can happen is, well, I'm just never going to do it again.
Yep.
So it was like, let it all be on his terms and let him decide. There was one exception when we sat in test track, and by the time he decided he wanted to get off, it was too late. So that one he had to deal with. Mike, I have never felt more like the worst dad in the world than that moment. It's like, I want to get up.
Mhm.
I'm like, I cannot help you now.
There's-
We're too far gone.
There's a great picture that I posted just last week in the Discord in the clubhouse of Mallory's first ride on on Rock and Roller Coaster, and she's sitting next to me. The sheer terror in her eyes in that picture. It's half I feel terrible and half proud dad moment, right? Because you got to have it, right? That's why you have kids. Like she wanted to ride that ride, but I mean, it's like at that moment she wants to be off the ride, but too late, man. We're shooting down the tube, getting ready to go upside down, and she's like,
you pulled on the yellow toggle, and that's it. You're gone,
That's
man.
exactly.
That's it.
But you mentioned
Too
that
late.
my dad, he did not have that philosophy back in the late 70s when I was growing up, because we went to our like local regional little Six Flags, it's called, little amusement park, and I just remember he told me I was in line for the log flume, which was my favorite ride, right? It's like a little log ride. Turns out we were in line for the Screaming Eagle, which was at the time the fastest and longest roller coaster in the world in the 70s here in St. Louis. So this thing comes screeching into the station because they call it the Screaming Eagle because it's a wooden roller coaster that makes a sound. Kind of sounds like an eagle. It's like,
Got you.
I'm like, Dad, that's not the log ride. He's like, get in. I was like, I'm scared of heights, man. This thing. I just remember I was terrified. So yeah, parenting has changed a little bit for the better over the decades.
Again, I'm one of four boys. We were dragged up that exact same way. So we were traumatized from a young age, and man, we dealt with it.
I just remember get in.
So carrying on, what we did from that trip to this one was spend a lot of time letting him watch the point of view ride videos for the rides, so he could see what they were like, what they were gonna be like. And funnily enough, the one that really piqued his interest, and I know you'll love this one, is Cosmic Rewind, Guardians of the
I
Galaxy.
could see it. Very visual. Very. I mean, it looks exciting. I mean, yeah, it's got everything.
Every ride that there could possibly be, Dad, I have to do that ride.
I get
I
it.
want to do that ride. Like it's my favorite. I want to do it. And I'm going, are you sure?
You got to
'Cause
see
I'm
the
not
beast.
sure.
Yeah,
But are
exactly.
you sure?
Exactly. Maybe.
He's like, Dad, no, I have to do this ride. I went, okay, but Mickey's sent me a list, and these are all the rides you have to do first before you can do that ride.
I like
And
that.
it was everything. It was Big Thunder, Soaring, Test Track. Everything he was tall enough to do, he had to do before Mickey would let him ride Guardians.
Like his little check, like it's like a checkout list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
and
yeah.
as you
Great
know from my
idea.
notes, on that Magic Kingdom day, he wiped out 80% of that list because he was doing that ride.
I love this.
So-
I see. That's why I love this show. I've never heard of this. That's such a great idea. I love this.
And so yeah, I mean, I'm jumping ahead a little bit there, but yeah, that's how we sort of built from the one trip to the next with him and his sort of rides and his expectations. But yeah,
So let's just kind of hop in, and so we talked about Pop, and it worked out. So
it was fantastic. And yeah, sorry, we checked in a pub, and we absolutely, I mean, my two boys are very confident, outgoing, and they tore up the reception area. So they were laughing, they were joking, they were just causing all sorts of commotion, but in the best way, you know, Mike. And our sort of cast member on check-in, Lydia, she was just so accommodating of the boys. I mean, we had shoes everywhere. We had bags open because he had to get everything out and show them what he'd brought on his holiday. And
I love
like
that.
he was just like, he met somebody, a little girl next to us. And I mean, he's 5 years old and he's flexing already. There's a little girl next to him. He's like, okay, so I'm gonna see you at the pool later with my belly out.
Oh my God, that's so awesome.
Like, everybody's just falling apart. And like, so she was loving the boys, and she's like, look, you need to be near the pool. Like, we've got you in the 90s at the minute, but I'm gonna move you. And so we ended up in the 60s block, but on the backside overlooking is it Hourglass Lake?
Yes,
And the
yeah,
Skyliner.
That's good. That's a great
So-
spot, man. Your kid worked it, man. He got
Man,
you.
it
Got
was
you the
great,
upgrade.
Mike. I was like,
People are gonna want to
can-
rent your kid. I'm just saying.
you lead all conversation from this point. So we were right by the pool, but we were overlooking the Skyliner, so we didn't have any of the noise. And then what we found out at the end of that check-in day, because we sort of out on the balcony just taking in the night out and whatever else, is that over to the right of us, we could see the top of Spaceship Earth
Yep.
and the fireworks from Epcot. But ahead of us, we could hear Fantasmic. So we were getting, the wind must have been blowing in the right
Yes.
direction, because we were getting both things from this balcony view we weren't even supposed to have. So yeah, that was a really nice start to the trip. And we're not even in a Disney park yet.
Yeah, shout out Sully for the flex in the lobby. That's awesome. All right, so let's talk about times. Let's just jump into the theme parks. We don't have to go
Yeah.
sequentially, but just those moments, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
I just want to hear about the great times you had. And I love that checkout list. Like, you know what? You got to build your way up to Cosmic Rewind to show that
That's
you
it,
are
yeah.
really
So-
ready for that experience. But it's also the small times, you know, and the times maybe you have with your wife, and you know, just give us what are
Absolutely.
the highlights of the theme park times, and also we can
So-
talk dining too.
The first morning, we always try to start the whole trip with a character breakfast, and normally it's Crystal Palace because we like to go to Magic Kingdom on the first day. That's kind of our thing. I know a lot of people are similar, but others are different. But what we find is we get a great breakfast, we get 3 or 4 characters, and we don't like to spend a lot of time waiting in line for characters throughout the day because we want to do the rides and the experiences in the shows. So we find, well, if we do a character breakfast, we get a great breakfast, we can take our time with it, and we scratch the itch of meeting characters all in one hit. So we did that with Crystal Palace. And because we got the earliest reservation that we could, we got the early morning castle shot with not many people around,
Right.
with the photo pass photographers. We walked out of breakfast straight into Adventureland and straight onto Jungle Cruise ahead of what I call the first wave of stampede of people.
Yep.
So by the time everybody was rushing towards us, we were walking back up Main Street to Harmony Barbershop. So we'd let the boys' hair grow out for months, so they could get a good cut at the Harmony Barbershop. And we were in there. So Sid's getting his first haircut, Sully's getting his haircut, and we had Doug and Colleen, who were just the most amazingly sweet cast members with the boys. Like, they're cutting their hair, and Doug's talking to Sully about, so tell me about your little brother. Like, is he a good brother? Are you a good brother? Like, what's your favorite? Like, and you're just watching this happen, and like Sully's talking away like he's a grown man. Like, Dad, why are you even here? I don't need you. I'm getting my hair cut.
Just come back in 20 minutes and give him a tip.
Exactly right. Just come back and pay the bill, which, that's life now for me, I guess. And so we finish up getting the boys' haircuts. We're getting certificate for Sid, and they give you a certificate and a little ear hat and a lock of his hair and this whole thing, and it's just beautiful. And at that moment, just as they're finishing Sully's hair, the Dapper Dans walk in.
Nice.
And they walk in, they circle around the back of the chair that Sid's just got out of, and they're like, oh, hey, we're the Dapper Dans. And we just got like a private showing. They sang like 3-4 songs there was our family and one other family. And they were giving it stink like the place had 1,000 people in it. It was amazing. Like, it was,
man. It's like you got your own like Disney commercial right there for you guys.
Exactly that, Mike. And it's these moments like that this trip was full of, that you just don't get going to the theme park down the road, or it's just that something about Disney that hits different, like,
yeah,
we couldn't buy that moment. We couldn't pay for that moment. We probably could if we had enough money, but
that's the thing is like, and I've got my hair cut in there a few times because it is when you go there enough, and I know you haven't been there a ton of times because of obviously the geographical distance, but I mean, you want to seek out these unique opportunities to have cool experiences, which you got to have with your kids. Yeah. But like, I've done the same thing. Like I've held off on a haircut just because, I mean, it's cool to get your haircut on Main Street, USA at the Harmony Barbershop. And I've done the same thing. Now I haven't it's not my first haircut and I haven't gotten the ears, but it's a cool experience. And the Dapper Dans didn't come in, but it's a great opportunity. And the ironic thing is the cost for the haircut, just a regular haircut, is about the same as it is at Great Clips here back home. I'm just saying, if anybody's thinking about doing this besides just the first haircut for your kids, get your haircut there one time, because it is not, because you probably think it's like 10 times what it costs at home. It's really not. It's one of those things that's reasonable.
So for the two boys to have the haircut, and Sid's, because it was a first haircut, it's a little bit more because you get the ear hat and everything else, the whole thing. And it was $48, and that included tax. And then obviously we paid tip on top. And I mean, I could pay £20, 20 odd pounds in the UK for a very basic haircut. Like, it was just.
And you'll talk about that forever. I mean, it's the experience, but it's also practical. Your kid's got the haircut for the next couple months. You know what I'm saying? You're walking away with something. It was great. Done. Yeah,
so that was like, what a great way to kick the trip off with this magical moment that we've never experienced before, and we'll be very lucky if we ever get that again, because it was just so random,
Yeah. So your poor kid, if that's his first haircut, next time he gets his haircut, how boring. I mean,
yeah, he's like, what is this? This is what I'm used to. It's like, man, Dad got cheap.
Exactly. All he did was cut my hair. So nobody sang. Where's the singers?
Not here again.
Exactly. This place is terrible. All he did was cut my hair.
So we come back out, and then we just dive straight into doing everything. Like, we went right on Main Street into Tomorrowland, and we just didn't stop. I mean, I think the only things we didn't do that day were Astro Orbiter, Carousel of Progress, can't remember the actual train that goes around the park.
Yep.
Won't come to me. And the Liberty Bell. Everything else we did, because we had Genie Plus and the parent swap. And a tip for people with the kids with the parent swap, it's fantastic because it allows you to both ride the rides and be with the kid that can't ride the ride. If you've got Genie Plus, though, it can work against you if you're not clever, because you ultimately have to split up and wait for the re-rides to happen. So what I got into the hang of very quickly was making sure the Genie Plus selections landed in those gaps, and alternately, so we were never on dead time. We just kept buying ourselves time all day long, and that's how we were able to do so much. I mean, we did Tron for the first time. Fantastic ride. I mean, it was just awesome. That experience of the glass going away and it's just there, like,
Mhm.
blew my mind. It was great. Um, I definitely thought I might come out of it. Didn't, but it was awesome. And it was just a day filled. I mean, we were on the go for 15, 16 hours from start to finish. And literally by the time we settled on Main Street at the end of the day for Happily Ever After, when that music started, that is that moment where I look over and I can see my wife holding Sid, and I'm looking at Sully, who I'm holding in my arm, and they're all just staring up at the castle, and I'm like, this is it.
Yeah, it's
This
why
is
you
it.
work so hard all year, right? I mean, we all
And
do
yeah,
work a lot to have these
yeah,
to save up for these vacations. And then when you get that moment, you're like, this is why I stayed and worked overtime and
yeah. And
sacrifice these other things.
it's just those moments where you go, This is exactly what it's all for. This is what it's all about. And this was day one. And if I could ask for, if I was only given one day in Disney, I would want that day, because so much happened. The character breakfast, the Harmony Barbershop, the ride, in every ride that there is in there, bar a handful. That, we had lunch at Pinocchio's Village House because Sully loves pizza. We had Pecos Bills for dinner because I really like Mexican. Like,
God, we gotta hang out, man. You're Coke Zero Mexican and you love Walmart. We gotta hang.
yeah, for sure. My wife is just killing it, slipping in, oh, I've just been and got a milkshake from Anti Gravities, or I've just got a premium bar, I've just got this, and I'm like, just keep it coming, man. I'm like, we're doing it, like we're loving it. And by the time we got back to sort of Pop that night, just to finish the whole perfect day off, we come back to the room, and there was a 5-pack of sort of these special chocolate bars, and there was a tub with like bath toys in, and we had a little card from Lydia at reception who checked us in, just saying, hope your first day was magical, enjoy these on us, and if you need anything, you know where we are.
That
I'm
is
like,
so awesome. Oh my God. So like the perfect day just got better.
absolutely. And what was amazing, Mike, is both my kids were asleep because, and you surely will have been here as a dad. We did the bus journey back from Pop to from Magic Kingdom to Pop. Both boys fell asleep on my arms, and I walked from the bus with them sleeping in my
Yep.
arms all the way up to the room, laid them down on the bed, and I'm just sort of looking at them. I'm looking at my wife, who's like cleaning at God knows what time in the morning, and just thinking like, this is just amazing. And then the next morning, my boys wake up and he sees them, and I explained to him, like, your friend Lydia, at the check-in has sent these for you because you were really nice and polite and friendly and whatever else. And this is what happens. Mickey notices good manners and magic. It can happen. And you know what he did, Mike? He was like, but we have to make sure we take a chocolate bar for Lydia because she was nice too. I'm like,
Oh, that's
you
sweet.
just shut up, man. Don't be cute. You
Let's eat them. I know that is. I love it. That is.
So,
Oh my gosh. This is
so
too good.
it was a great day, and it was, like I said to you, if the whole trip had ended there, I'd have been sad because it was short. But what a day, and what a way it finished. So the next morning, it was safe to say we were done.
Yes.
There were no alarms, nothing happened. Like, we were supposed to go to Animal Kingdom, but I sort of woke up at 8 o'clock, looked at the wait times, and I was like, yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to go. I'll check again later because it was a bit early. We checked while we were at the pool, and Animal Kingdom was busy that day. So we decided, well, let's make it easy. Let's get on the Skyliner, go to Epcot, just spend a few hours, get some food, and just have an easy one, and then get set for a busy day the day after, which is what we did. The kids loved the pool at Pop. And this was my only slight negative of the whole experience, and I think this is something that's been said on the podcast before. the temperature of the water in the pool, it's just a bit too warm
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, they keep it warm.
And we were like blazing hot at this time in August. I mean, it was right. I mean, the locals were struggling, so I mean, we were dying. Like, and I just wanted to jump in a cold pool and be like, but I kind of jumped in it and was like, this is like a bathtub.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah. No, I hear you. I know exactly. I mean, it's in
it almost like
January.
it
In
just
January,
wasn't.
it's all right.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I was like, yeah, this isn't comfortable. So we didn't spend as much time in the pool as we might have liked because, we tended to wait till sort of into the evening to go into the pool because at least the temperature out of the water had cooled a bit, so it balanced it out. But we had fun there nonetheless. But yeah, so we jumped into Epcot for the afternoon, and it was one of those where we weren't sort of head screwed on straight because we were quite tired from the day before. So we got in there and we went to Figment, and we just stood in the imagination area for like an hour watching the kids run round and hit stuff and press lights and whatever else. And we were like, yo, do you know, if they're happy, like,
Amen. Just let them play.
let it happen. Let it happen, because they could just blow that steam off. And then we went into the aquarium, and again, it was brilliant because they could just walk around, and they got a little play area in there and look at the fish. And it was really cool, man. It was such a nice opposite to what we'd had the day before. It was a lot more chilled, a lot more relaxed. We just took some drinks, got some food, and I think we were only in there for 3-4 hours.
Yeah, and Epcot's a great place to go in a situation like that because you can go there and have an unstructured day. Because, like you said, you in your notes you hopped on Living with the Land, typically short to no wait, Spaceship Earth later in the day, little to no wait. And like you said, just go in the pavilions, explore, and just pop in, grab connections. Go into World Showcase, grab some counter service food, and call it a day.
And what is brilliant, I find in Epcot, is all those rides that are suitable really for the kids, like Living with the Land and Figment. The Seas with Nemo and Friends, there's never a wait.
Yeah.
Almost never.
Especially later in the day, like you guys were.
You're just hitting them one after another, after another, after another. And before you know it, like you've done 4 or 5 rides. We're sitting in Connections Cafe, eating the most amazing chicken burger I think I've ever had. And life's good.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. Yeah.
No doubt. So we have about 20 left, and you got about 14 days. I want to get the highlights here because I know it's the middle of the night for you, and I want to get all this in here because I know you got so much good stuff. And I mean, like, this has been a top 10 show already. I mean, you're killing it with this. I mean, people are like jealous. They just want to travel with Simon at this point. Like, when's Simon going back? I'm meeting him at Pop Century.
Well, it have to be a series. We'll have to do like a mini
exactly.
series.
This is it. Yeah,
the problem is, I like you, Mike. I could just talk.
I'm the same. I mean, hey, I've only talked for 2,500 podcast episodes. They're like, what Disney podcast has the most shows? Mike, because he doesn't shut up. Because he does 2. Most people do 1 a week. I do 5. Let's go. But no, I'm serious though, because you guys, you had the right attitude going in. So I just think the karma is going to keep going. And like you had a hard day and then you had a slow day. So you're absolutely doing this right. So how does this continue though for another 2 weeks? Give us how the whole trip unfolds.
I think the reason that it continued and it continued well is one of the biggest things with traveling with kids, and you see it time and time again, is they get pushed too hard because we've got a schedule and we've got to keep it and we've got to do this and we've got this. And we just completely were like, let them lead. We'll have all the plans, we'll have all the reservations, we'll have all the things. But if at some point it's not going to work, doesn't matter. Let's flip the script, change it, wing it, and move on. And we'll make good of what it is. But so the next day we jumped into Typhoon Lagoon. We had a brilliant morning there because you can be easy or you can be fast or you can be whatever at Typhoon Lagoon. And like I said to you earlier, I probably spent a good half an hour just convincing my 5-year-old it was a good idea to wait for the waves to hit him in the wave pool and just watch him get wiped out.
That's no joke. I've lost a couple pair of sunglasses to those waves back in the day, man. Those things are no joke.
But then he found the little slide next to the wave pool, and that was him for an hour.
There you go.
Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Like, And let it be. I just kept drinking rum punches from the cafe. I was like, "You
Life's
do your
good.
thing, man.
Exactly,
Dad
man.
ain't driving today."
That's right. That's right. Disney's Disney Transport,
Yeah.
baby.
So yeah, a morning in Typhoon Lagoon, finishing the day with back at Epcot and the fireworks show, which we hadn't seen this fireworks show before. Epcot Forever, I think
Yep.
it was called, and it was great. It was great. I'm a big fan of the old illuminations. I didn't mind Harmonious at night when it was happening. Um, but yeah, Epcot Forever was a good show. It was a great show. I miss Illuminations, but I can appreciate what it is. But the next day in the Hollywood Studios was a big one because we're back to this Sully's ticking rides off the list thing, and he went on Tower of Terror. He went on Slinky Dog Dash. He went on everything. Like he wasn't tall enough for Rock and Roller Coaster. But we just come off Tower of Terror and we're like, okay, we need to take a break because we've been on a lot in a short space of time. So we go to grab a drink. And I want to, what's the place on the corner, Mike, opposite the Beauty and the Beast stage show that does the ice creams and the drinks? And is it like, it's not, is it Sunset Boulevard? Is it
Yeah, is it
along there?
the Rosie's place there, kind of with the
On the
umbrellas?
marketplace one on the corner?
I
I'm
know
not
what you're
sure.
talking about. There's also the turkey leg place out there, kind of.
Yeah, but this place have got like a specialty drink on it. Looks a bit like the Pog juice that you get
Yeah, okay, I
from
know
the
what you're
different
talking about.
places, but it's got boba balls in it and stuff. And we're like, we'll get one of those, and we'll just take it. We'll have a drink. We'll just chill out for a little bit. And so we just sat on the bench, and we're sharing one of these because we're like, we're happy as a family to share stuff. And a cast member walks over to us, puts another one of the drinks down on the table, and she went, Mickey's just asked me to let you know that it's too hot to share a drink, so he's sent you an extra one over. And then she walked
Man.
away, and she just walked off. I was like, what? I mean, thanks. Like
Mickey
and it just-
Mouse is just like following you guys around, making sure you're having a good time.
and so and in my mind, I started looking over to Sully. I'm like, what did you say? What did you do?
How are you
Who you
working your
talking
magic
to?
again? What kind of voodoo you got, kid? I need some of that.
I don't know, but it was just again another one of those moments where Disney's just throwing you a curveball and just making magic happen. So we move on from there, and we did. Was this the first? Oh, this was the first Rise of the Resistance day, and we'd never done it before, and it blew my mind. It was such a fantastic ride. Sully loved it. Funnily enough, he preferred though Millennium Falcon, which we'd never done before, but specifically being a pilot because he could hold the sticks
Right.
and hit the
I can see
buttons
that.
and do all the things. And
It's more active
to
for
the
a
point-
kid. Yeah.
and
I get it.
he loved that, and that was by far his favorite ride of the day, Millennium Falcon, which threw me off because I didn't think that was going to be the case. But I think his least favorite was Tower of Terror because he came off it and he was like, that's off the list, right? I don't have to do that again.
So I did get the stamp, correct? Like I'm
I'm like, no,
certified on Tower.
You've done it, mate. You don't have to do it again.
Your kid kills me, man.
So
funny.
yeah, that was a good day, and then we hopped out of there at the right time because just as we got off the Skyliner to get home, like the heavens opened, like it was a storm, and we just hunkered down in the room and just chilled and got ready for a big day at Animal Kingdom. This was probably a day where we had our first sort of incident, as it were. We'd had a brilliant day at Animal Kingdom. We'd done loads of rides. We'd done early morning safari. We'd seen all the animals. We'd done Lion King show, the Nemo show. Like, as I say, we love the theater and performers. It's what we do. So watching these shows is just absolutely our bag. We loved it. And so we do all these things, and we're getting to the point where tonight we're going to watch Fantasmic over at Hollywood Studios because we decided we were going to split the parks up a bit and hop around a bit. So on the way out of Animal Kingdom, we get to the gate, and just before we walk out the park, Sully shouts up at me. He's like, "Oh no, I've lost my magic band!" And I'm like,
no. Oh, God.
"What? What do you mean you've lost your magic band? How? What?" What has happened? And we go into guest services, and whilst we're in guest services, and we talk to them about the Lost Magic Band, Susie turns to me and she went, "I can't find Sid's shoe." I'm like,
Oh, Lord.
"What do you mean?
It's
What?"
getting, now all of a sudden, the tables have turned on the lock.
Yeah, like Mickey's not here anymore. Mickey's gone. He's like, "You've had your magic. Now it's time
Yes.
to be parents."
The
All right.
world is turning right back to even things back out with you.
It's at this point is like, okay, I'm gonna take one for the team. I'm gonna go and explore. Now the park's shutting down, but I legged it back to Satuli Canteen, which is where we'd just come from the front of the park, and I'm scaring the floor. I've got people in Satuli Canteen, cast members, like they're looking with me. Got security, like, "What are you doing? You should be leaving." I'm like, "Yeah, no, but I've lost a magic band and a shoe." It's
And
like,
a shoe.
"Okay,
That's what I'd say.
let's look."
And a shoe.
And a shoe. So we look, and I mean, we've got like an army of people scaring from Satuli Canteen back to the front of the park, and I mean that's a distance, and we could not find anything. So we're walking out of there, a magic band down, a shoe down, and at this point we're getting close to like we're not even going to make Phantasmic if we're not careful, you know. I was like, okay, look, it's fine. They've given us a card for Sully, so we can carry on with the trip. You know, they did everything they could. They reported it and they said, check Disney Spring in a few days with the lost property thing, and maybe it will turn up. No problem. We're like, at this point, we just want to get over to Hollywood Studios and make sure we don't miss Phantasmic. So we jump on the bus, we get over there, we get off the bus, walking into Hollywood Studios. I'm like, it looks like it might rain, but let's get we'll get the umbrella out just in case. Susie turns to me, she's like, I think I left my umbrella on the bus. I'm like,
oh no, gotta be kidding. The world
what
is
has
getting
happened? How have we fell apart so quickly?
I'm just hoping by the end of Phantasmic you still have both kids.
But we get into Phantasmic, we sit down, we've got giant drinks, we've got popcorn and snacks, and the music strikes up, the lights go down, we're doing Mexican waves, and the world is right again. Like we're doing Mexican waves. I'm just hoping someone's going to throw a shoe as they do it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take that.
It's a 6, close enough. My kid wears a 2, it'll fit. Whatever.
I don't care what it is. I'll just take it. It's like, but we have a fantastic time at Phantasmic. It's just amazing because it's the first time we've been able to see it since 2019. So it's been a long time coming for us, and it was just fun. It's one of our favorite shows, and it was brilliant. So come out of there feeling great. Forget the fact of what had happened in the last few hours. It finished right. We got to the Skyliner, and we were like, man, that queue is insane. Like it's like lapping.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, man, this is going to be intense. But you know what? I don't know how they do it, but it just
it swallows people. Yeah,
like it just went. Like
and
we were like, well, great. Like we were home in no time, so we loved that, which just added in even more to like we made the right decision being where we were at Pop, So the next day, the bad luck continues a little bit, but we get a turnaround because we go to Epcot, and by this point, Sully's down to like 3 rides. One of them's Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm on my phone like in the morning getting my virtual queue, like 1 minute to 7, watching the world clock click around, getting ready.
That's so crazy that we still have to do that, but we do. I get it. Yeah.
So I'm there, and we get one, and like we get an estimated time of like 11 a.m. Brilliant. We get over to the park, and we're like rope drop. We're doing Genie Plus. We're doing all of that. We're doing Ratatouille. We're doing Frozen Ever After. We're soaring, like anything we can get in to kill the time before Guardians. Get called for our first Guardians virtual queue. We head on over there just as we can see the Xandar spaceship. Guardians has gone down.
Oh, of course.
Man,
you guys are having a tough 12 hours.
I'm like, okay, let's not panic. It's fine. We can make it's fine. We're not going there. We're just walking past it, just checking it's all ready. We go into the play area at Mission Space. So we take them in. and Sully's running around and Sid are running around in the little play area, forgets all about it. About an hour later, pops up. Guardians of the Galaxy is open. Return for your time. We head on over. We get there, just about to scan in. All the cast members come out. It's gone down. I was like, oh my days. So it's getting harder and harder to explain to a 5-year-old. We will get on it,
Yes.
but we have to just wait a little bit longer. We're nearly there. This has been 12 months in the process, you know?
Yes, we're 99%. It's like
we're so close. We're so close.
The status bar is right on that last little tick.
Let's get some lunch. So we dive into Connections Cafe. We get chicken burgers. We get pizza.
Oh my God, that could be a fatal flaw. Just saying. I mean, hey.
The best is yet to come, Mike. So we do all that. And then we get just finishing lunch. Guardians of the Galaxy's open. I look at Susan. I'm like, I don't even know if this is a good idea after all that food we just ate. But at this point, we need to try and get on it because this kid's going to explode.
But literally, go ahead.
So we get in, we get through the queue, we get through all the rooms, we get through all the other rooms and all the other rooms and all the queue. I mean, the kid, he gets to the front of the queue. 2 of you? Yeah. And Sully looks up. Can I sit at the front? Sure can. Number 1, off you go. So we were in number 1. We get loaded in. The train takes off, goes around the corner before the slope it shoots up and it stops dead.
Oh.
And I'm like, this seems like a long wait.
Oh no.
What's going on? And we just stop there. No one says anything. And then a load of lights come up and instantly inside I'm like, I know what's happening. I know what's going to happen. And he's going, Daddy, like, what? When's it going to go? When's it going to go? And I'm like,
never.
I don't think it is, mate. But let's just see. Let's just wait. We'll be patient. Sure enough, Mike, they come out. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to escort you off the ride.
Oh.
The ride is closed. Mike, we are sat in row 1, looking at the track that goes up the hill to space.
Mickey might have saved you after that big lunch. I'm just saying. I mean, this could have been the cosmic rewind. God saving you right there.
So we get out the ride, and he's taking this like a champ. Like I can see he's upset, but he's holding it together. And we get walked all the way through backstage, all the way through the exits. We get into this back corridor, and because we were in row 1, we were at the back of the line. So we're at the back of the line of everybody coming out. And as we get into this sort of final corridor where you can see the daylight, you can start to hear like quite a lot of commotion and some of it not very pleasant, if you know what I mean. And I very quickly understand what's happening. You got a few different cast members there with the iPads and they're scanning people and they're giving them, I guess, return lightning lanes and that sort of thing. And some people, Mike, some adults seem to lose all sense of dignity and mental capacity when things like this happen.
They get a little sense of entitlement, I think. Yes,
that's it. Yeah, and so it's all happening, and it's sort of Sully's then starting to get like, oh, I'm like, it's fine, don't worry, it's fine, don't worry. And so we were the last ones, and they start scanning us, and they're like, we're really sorry, but you could just see, Mike, these guys were battered. They had been absolutely battered by everyone before us. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's fine. We're going to go off. We'll go find something else to do and we'll be back. We appreciate you. We understand. You don't make the ride go.
Exactly. This is not, you do not want this to happen. This is not what you got up this morning to do.
I'm sure you don't want to do this and be shouted at by 50 people. Like, I get it. It's fine. Look, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So they gave us sort of lightning lanes. They're grateful that we're grateful. And, they walk off. And we walk out the door and we get out the door. And literally, I look down at him and he just starts bawling his eyes out. Like he'd held it together for so long. And then he just had to let it out, this like overwhelming emotion. And he's crying and I'm cuddling him. And a lady comes around the corner and she goes, excuse me, is everything okay? I'm like, he's just a little upset because the ride broke down and blah, 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 blah. And I don't remember her name. And for the life of me, it will pain me that I don't know her name because it was just such a moment. But she was quite a senior, I'm guessing, experience manager. And she just sort of took his hand and said, come with me. and she sort of pulled him to a side away from the crowd and said, you know, what's going on? And I said, he's just been an emotional sort of 24 hours. He lost his magic band. He's been waiting.
He's only
12
got
months
he's only got one
ride.
shoe on. I mean, come on.
Like, it's been a day. So it's just a massive melting pot of emotions. It's come to the brim. We're going to be fine in 5 minutes and an ice cream, an ice cream prima bar's time. It's going to be good. And she was like, huh, okay, come with me. And then she took us into the merch shop, Mike, and gave us this. I'd never seen this before, but it's like a yellow piece of paper with Pinocchio's face on it. And it's like a good for check, like a check type thing. And she just wrote on there, any magic band of Sully's choice anywhere in Disney World.
Oh,
that's it.
Wow.
And
cool.
I was like, we're not sort of hands out people. We work hard and we're happy to pay for our way.
Sure.
And whatever else. We're very grateful for all these magic moments we're getting. But, it was a ride that broke down. And he's upset, but it doesn't need anything else,
and that's how a 5-year-old's going to react. It's the appropriate response to disappointment. I mean, he was excited for the chance to ride it. Yeah,
and he's got to learn these lessons in life.
100%.
Like, it doesn't always go your way.
Right.
And so I said to her, look, I'm really grateful, but you just don't have to do this. And she went, no, I don't have to do this, but I get to do this.
That's
and
cool.
I can do this. So I will do this. She said, no, you decide if you want to let him use that's your call, but
that's cool.
It's my wish.
That's awesome.
It's my wish for him to have this opportunity. And I was like, then that's amazing. And I appreciate you so much, So that was like a massive turnaround. It was such a wonderful gesture. And again, just a magic moment from Disney that was unexpected. So we plow on with our day, and we're going from other ride to ride to ride, just thinking, okay, maybe today is not the Guardians of the Galaxy day. We've got a reservation for Woody's Rodeo Roundup Barbecue later on, so we've got to jump to Hollywood Studios anyway. We head over to the Skyliner. There's a sign outside of the Skyliner. Unfortunately, this is down due to an incoming storm. So we're like, okay, this 24 hours is going on.
Things are catching up.
So we couldn't get over there, so we had to cancel our reservation with Rodeo Roundup Barbecue. So we rolled the dice, looked on the app, and it was like, well, what can we do instead? And we ended up in Beer Garden in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, it was hands down one of the best experiences we had on the whole trip.
I love that place. We've got to hang out. That is one of my favorite places to eat. It's like a little village. I mean, it's got great food, and it's not even that expensive. The food was
awesome. Like, melt in your mouth beef. I don't know what they do to that stuff, but it was like just falling apart. Like we were all in, both feet full in, like all the food. And then I'm sat there, I'm drinking a Schofferhofer or whatever that is, and like I've got a little flight of beers. I don't really drink beer, but I'm drinking it and I'm loving it, and it's great. And then 3 guys in lederhosen come out and start singing, and I'm like, what is this?
Oi, 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 let's go.
All this, and I do so much research and do so much, and I've never seen this before.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just there going, well, hell yeah, we're in for this. And we're up on the dance floor.
You're doing the chicken dance and everything. You're like, I'm in. Where's the lederhosen store?
I'm like, if this is what comes out of this day, what a day. Like, it was that, again, one of those moments where I'm just looking around at us all, laughing our heads off. I'm gonna roll out the place because I'm so full.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like we're dancing, doing the chicken, and it's just brilliant. And I'm like, wow, how does this day get any better? Like, really, I know it's been not the best at times, but in this moment, it's amazing. We walk out of Beer Garden, my phone pings, Guardians of the Galaxy is open. Please return for your thing.
Okay. Oh my God. Whoa. Going to Connections for lunch before Guardians had me a little worried. You were right there on the precipice of the ride, blasting you into space, but the gods of the Guardians saved you. Now you have just blasted through Germany with all the meats, all the beers. And then the gods are like, let's roll the dice here and let's ping your phone and say, you want to play, guy? Let's go.
You want it?
Guardians, you want it?
You
Want it? Okay, let's go. Let's see. So, okay, let's hear how the story ends. Go ahead.
And so, and so at this point, honesty is the best policy, right? So I just sort of kneel down to Sully and say, look, Guardians of the Galaxy is open. We can, if you want to. Before I could say another word, Mike, I want to. I'm like, oh man, okay, let's do this. And we headed over there. And,
I don't even know if I could walk that far after Beer Garden. I'm just saying that's a hike.
It was a slow walk. Let me tell you, it was slow. I was waiting for one of those barges to come and carry me over there.
Exactly, that's a hike.
But we got over there, and Mike, we got through the rooms, through the other rooms, onto the ride. And sure enough, we went into space, round the world, round the moon, round everything, doing the conga. And man, whew, I have never regretted eating so much meat in all my life. But all I could hear the whole time round was, woo!
I'm sure.
Woo! And I'm like, that sounded a little nervous to me. It's like, I want to be brave, but I'm nervous.
Oh.
And we got off it, and I'm like, okay, he's going to be terrified. He's going to be green. He might be covered in sick. He might be crying. What do I expect? He's jumping out the ride. It's parent swap. I'm going to go with mommy. It's mommy's turn. Let's go. You are insane, child. Like, I couldn't go again now if you paid me. But sure enough, he went back on that ride with Suze, and he loved it. Now, a bit like your picture of Mallory, if I could show you the picture of him on Guardians of the Galaxy, his face would tell you otherwise.
Yes.
Because he's like,
pictures don't lie.
But he loved it, and he'd come off of it with Susan. He was like, oh, that's the best ride. It's my favorite. I love it. And so for the rest of our trip, not every day, but on a few occasions, we would have, you make your park reservations for different parks. We were having to change them so that we could go to Epcot, ride Guardians of the Galaxy, and then we could go on about our day at the other park, because he was just so into it. But I just thought, well, I need to embrace this, because that's a big thing for someone so small.
It is.
If he's that enthusiastic about it, then knowing what he was like the year before, let's run with it, man. Let's let him live that moment, and just everything else can work around it. And I know we're going to run out of time, but that is one of the highlights of the whole trip, is his face that night heading back to Pop on the Skyliner. Just, what kids are like when they're 8.
Oh,
yeah. And then the man came, and then the spaceships came, and then we went around the Earth, and then we went around the moon. And I was like, I was there, dude. I was like, holding my beef there. Like, and his head just exploded with excitement. It was amazing. Like, it really, really was. And the rest of the trip, I don't think for him anything was as exciting or as important as that step of that ride. I mean, we crammed in so much more. We had so many more park days, as you know. I mean, riding all the other rides like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and just all of the things. But his takeaway, and still to this day, Dad, do you remember that time like with Groot and Rocket, and we were like flying backwards in space, and like, can we do that again? I'm like, yeah, soon.
Totally. But it's cool that you guys, and what's great is that you got to make that moment together. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're sitting side by side. And honestly, here, what I take away from this story is just kind of like a person who's getting to hear it third person, is that you kind of had to work at it. You know what I'm saying? Like the story isn't as exciting if this happened and you
First
got
time.
it at the first attempt, right?
No.
You have like this whole backstory to, you had to
Yeah.
climb the mountain to hit the peak. And that's what makes the story awesome, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
It's exactly that, and I think what again, like what it will help them or him understand is that it doesn't come first time. It doesn't always come easy. Sometimes you got to just hang in there and get through all the things to get to the thing, and the payoff was worth it, and it really was. And like there was so many other things, and the pixie dust and the magic moments didn't end there. Like there were so many times like we got given like free slushes in Zuru's sweet shop for no reason other than we just said thank you so much, have a great day. And then we were in Columbia Harbor House ordering our dinner, and as I took the tray, Sully took the Diet Coke off the Coke Zero off the tray. He was like, oh Dad, thanks, I can have that, and ran off. And then the cast member was like, well, here, let me give you another one. It's not fair. He stole yours. It's like, it's funny, but like you don't need that. And like,
Yes.
they don't need to do this, right? They don't need to, but they can. And what we tried to do is wherever we could sort of be the magic or pay that forward, we did. So if we went in and bought like lollipops or something, we might buy an extra one and say, maybe pass that to the next person who comes, or that sort of thing, because that's like, I'm a worker, I'm a grafter. Like I don't need to be given everything, but if I am, then how can I pay that forward to somebody else so they can have the magic moment? Do you know what I mean?
I agree. I agree. And the thing is, I mean, here's where I'm so glad that we get to have this show, because this show is going to go out literally. We have listeners in Australia. We have listeners all over, the United States, all over North America, Europe. And here on a Monday, if people download it the day it comes out, what a great way to start the week. You know what I'm saying? Because this story, you guys got some pixie dust put on you, but it was because of your attitude. You came over, you were positive, you were excited, your kids were pumped up in the lobby from the get. They wanted to have a good time. They were, and we see this, right? I stay at Pop Century all the time. And even when I go down by myself for a race weekend, I'm by myself, but I see the kids, and that's exactly why I go. I get excited to see families checking in, getting ready to have a great time. And I mean, that's exactly why we go to a place like Walt Disney World. This is it. In the show here today, I hope and I know that people are smiling wherever they're listening to this show. And I hope that it's making everybody have a more positive start to the week. I mean, I don't know how you can't listen to today's show and not just think, I need some Sully in my life. I mean, this kid is awesome. I love that you took the time. I mean, you're staying up in the middle of the night to do this for us. I mean, that says something. And what a great way to start the week. This has been awesome.
It's been an exciting day, and like I've been sort of gibbering away to my wife all day, like I listen to these guys all the time. Like I found you guys in COVID, when our whole world fell apart, and I'm in entertainment, right? So it was one of the first things to go, the last things to come back, and we had to diversify. So I bought a pickup truck and started delivering steel, and that's how I found your podcast, because I was like, I need to listen to something. My Disney trips have been cancelled. How can I still connect to Disney and the things that I love, and things that interest me and get me excited? And I went right back to the beginning, and all the way through COVID, like caught up
That's
through
crazy.
the whole podcast, man. And I tell you, you guys, like it, and I think I hear people say it a lot. What I think what sets you guys apart is it's just a space where you can come, hang out, talk about the things that you love. We don't worry too much about the politics because we're not running the place. That's for other people to worry about.
Right.
We talk about what we enjoy, what other people enjoy, and stuff we didn't know that we might enjoy in it. And that's what's great. You can always find something new, and it's like the friends you never knew you had who were just waiting for you.
That's exactly how I feel today. I mean, like we didn't know each other an hour ago, and now I feel like we need to hang out at Beer Garden. We need to go to Walmart, grab some Coke Zeros, and I mean, we would have a blast for 2 weeks.
For sure, yeah, but maybe not before running a race or something. Yeah,
absolutely
maybe
not.
after.
And you can ride Cosmic Rewind. I'll raid at the exit, and then we'll just go on from there. I mean, I'm not doing it, especially after Beer Garden. That's suicide. There's no way I would ever do. You're insane, man. You're insane. But no, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you bringing this energy in this kind of show to our show, because it's going to pick people up today on a Monday, and people need that sometimes. Like you said,
yeah,
you just don't know when people need a little positivity. Somebody could be having a really rough day today already, and this could turn it around for them. That's my hope always for the show. And again, I know extraordinary effort staying up late tonight. So Simon, it's been great meeting you. Thanks for coming on the show, and tell Sully, man, he has been a rock star around the world today.
Mate, he'll love to know that he's been talked about, and I'll play this back.
Yes,
for him,
please do,
because he'll love it. And if anybody, and I hope you don't mind the sort of shameless mention, Mike.
No, sure.
If anybody wants to sort of see Sully in action, we vlog our trips now. We're not like these hardcore vloggers. Like we don't take ourselves too seriously. It's basically us just messing around, having fun at Disney, and maybe someone finds something useful in there. Maybe they just get a laugh out of it. But you come check us out, man. We're slowly does it, and it just is what it says on the tin. It's us four guys just being goofy.
Okay, so I want people to check it out. So how can they find you? So make it clear so people can check you out this week.
Yeah, so for sure. So we're on Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel. So I am currently, because it's quite taxing, like still editing the videos from that trip. So like that Magic Kingdom day took me like a month to edit.
And this is why I do an audio podcast, by the way.
So yeah, like sometimes I go, why did I do this, man? Like, why? But yeah, so we've got our trips on our YouTube channel, which is Slowly Does It. And we're also on Instagram. They're our main two places. We're on Facebook as well, but they're the main place. So come say hi, come check us out. We're connected to you guys, and we follow and chat and stuff. So yeah, like come say hi, man. Sully, I'd love to say hi.
Oh yeah, and hey, come over to the Discord too, because everybody'd love to talk to you over there this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll be honest, Discord is one of those things I don't understand it fully or what it is. But
I don't either. I mean, but I hang out there.
We'll work it out, and I'll get involved. Yeah, for sure.
It's weird looking, but I'm starting to kind of figure it out. It's like I don't know if it's
we're in Disneyland Paris in August for a week, so I'll come back and give you a shout after we've done that trip.
Rock on. We'll do it totally 100%. Well, hey, take care, and it's almost time to get up for work, I guess, so I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Simon.
I'll feed the boys breakfast.
That's right. Yeah, go get the Wheaties ready or whatever, oatmeal. I don't know what they have, but hey, appreciate it. All right, well, hey, don't forget, show's brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. You guys know what to do. We'd love to help you plan that next vacation, whether it's to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney. Just swing by the website today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You make all this possible. It's patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. And when you subscribe, just $5 a month, you get our bonus show. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So come on over, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Mention the Clubhouse. That's called the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse. That's where we hang out in between shows 24/7. The conversation continues. You can get in on that anytime. Just go to beourguestpodcast.com/Discord. We'll be looking for you over there this week. And we'll have our live show this Sunday night. Scott joins me, and we take your calls at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. All the places: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. And we're there too. It's not just for poker. All right, so we're going to get out of here. Let Simon get, an hour and a half of sleep, and I got to get back to work, and we'll have a great time. So hope you have a great Monday. So until we talk again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions, for Simon over in the UK, I'm Mike here in Missouri. You guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.